Mr. Sandino's here. Okay. Okay, Mr. Slakowski's here. All right. All right, I think we're ready to begin. So let me just start the record. Okay. There we go. All right, thank you, everyone, for joining the June 18th Board of Education Agenda meeting. For those in the public, we are sharing right now how you can access the Zoom or on the phone only is also available, and the agenda is available on the district website under the Board of Ed page, and that's available right now. Okay. Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10-4-10.
You may have to take this bird because I have a meeting tonight. And your grandmother's not here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising such notice in the Home News Tribune, the Asbury Park Press, the board office, the schools, and on Cablevision Channel 118 and BIOS Channel 24, and by filing such notice with the Township Clerk. This meeting was scheduled for Thursday, June 18th, 2020. The board takes formal action on payment of bills and agenda items and other agenda items. Mr. Mayor, please.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis Foster. The Old Bridge Township Board of Education acknowledges that the law of this state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that that act of recording does not interfere with the business of this public board meeting. Therefore, the board makes it known that any such recording is to be considered the private recording of the individual and in no manner represents the official record of this board. The board therefore takes no responsibility for such private recording and completely disavows any future use.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Burns.
Here. Here.
Callie.
Here.
DeCaro. DePrima.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Here. Okay, Mr. Dunn is here. Giordano.
Here.
Lent.
Here.
Solakowski.
Here.
Ellis Foster.
Here.
Okay, and just for others present, Mr. Cittadino.
Here.
Dr. Hoker's here. I've seen you. I'm here. Mr. Tui, Dr. Tui.
Here.
Ms. Keeler. Okay, and Chris Parton is here. Thank you.
Great.
Quorum exists.
Okay, great. One sec. If we could all stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone else, for joining on this beautiful day for Old Bridge. We'll just start. Oh, hang on. I'm going to share. In just one second, I'm going to share our agenda. You can all give me 1 minute. All right, here we are. Okay, so we have our agenda. Thankfully, right now there's no memorial. Who would like to volunteer for our ethics corner next week?
I will.
Mr. Giordano, thank you. Our district goals. We will have approval of minutes. I know the high school did, I believe, have their new student representative, but I'm sure they're enjoying the summer. So hopefully we'll have them maybe in the August meeting as we kick off. And we will have some recognition next week, which is great. Some very wonderful young ladies. So why don't we just move into the superintendent's report, Mr. Sedadino?
I think we lost him.
I'm here.
Oh,
Thank you. I just want to add for the record, Jackie Canton should be in memoriam for next week.
okay, thank you.
Okay. As is required by law, the superintendent must twice a year report on HIB, violence, vandalism, and control dangerous substance use within the district over 2 periods. Within that law, period 1 consists of the data from September 1st through December 31st, and that's the period I'll be reporting on, not the period in which we were just on remote learning. Period 2 consists of information from, I'm sorry.
Did you want me to, yeah,
There you go.
did you want me to pull that report up, Mr. Sedadino?
No, I have it.
No, but
Consists, if the public wants to see it, you can do it there.
yeah, yes, I was thinking so the public can see what you're,
Okay.
okay.
Period 2 consists of the data from January 1st through June 30th. We're required to report on alleged and confirmed HIB cases. That was new in this current school year. We are also required to report any incidents of both special education, general education students that result in disciplinary removal for at least 1/2 a day. Disciplinary removals are defined as any instance in which a student is removed from his or her educational placement for disciplinary purposes, including in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, expulsion, and removal by any other educational setting. The student safety data system requires the collection and input of the following areas: violence, vandalism, weapons, substance abuse, and any vandalism that results in police notification with no complaint signed, police notification with a complaint signed, in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, expulsions, unilateral removals, or removal by an administrative law judge. We report on the offenders and victims as well, whether they be student offenders, student victims, school personnel victims, or student victims of violent crimes. There will also be reports on the program provided for any disciplinary action. That could be assignments and instructions of support services, in-district programming, home assignment, home instruction, out-of-district programming. For period 1, September 1 through December, we had 28 incidences of violence, 5 incidences of vandalism, 0 weapons, and 16 substance abuse. The number of HIB confirmed cases was 10. All 10 had a complete investigation within the 10-day time period, and the Board of Education rendered decisions on all 10 of those. The number of alleged HIB incidences was also 10. There was 10-day investigation completed, and the Board of Education rendered a 10-day decision on all of those. So if you look at the comparison of previous years, 2019-20, period 1, you can see that we were probably on target to be much lower than the previous 2 years. And those years had increased incidences of controlled dangerous substances. And that's one of the things with the more aggressive testing we did with the vape epidemic that led to inflated numbers there.
Hey, oh, Mr. I think I'm sharing the wrong thing right now. Did you want that Word document right now to be shared?
No, not the Word document. Just go down to the last, and there's a last table.
Oh, okay, that's why I was on the wrong thing. I apologize. Let me get back up. Okay, I was sharing the wrong thing. I mean,
That's
I
okay.
wasn't further down. All right, there we are. Thank you.
And that there's two tables that compare years 1920. The second table goes all the way back to 2009, 2010. So we can see that we were on a low incident year. Obviously, will be much lower because of we were in remote learning. And the last slide is the confirmed HIB case, the HIB cases. Yeah, in 2016-17 was the last year you didn't report confirmed. So you can see that we had 10 confirmed and 10 alleged, according to this data. So that we were right on target for, again, a lower year in that area. That is the completion of that summary. At the June 30th meeting, I'll do just a summary of the school year.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cittadino. So that's what you have. That's all for today.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mayor, are there any correspondences?
There's no correspondence.
Thank you. We have no special committee reports. I know we'll talk about policies when they come up. And we have our facility use packet. So now we will move on to the hearing of residents on any agenda item. There are two ways that you can call in. Hang on one second, let me just get that up. If somebody would like to speak, they can just, if you want to raise your hand in your participant bar, I can unmute you so you can speak. If you are on the phone, if you've called in, you can hit *9. So I'm just gonna give a moment if anybody from the public, again, if you just either want to raise your hand or put in chat that you'd like to say something, I will unmute you. And this is on agenda items only. If you're on the phone, you can hit *9. And 1 minute. We will have a general public comment at the end. So seeing no one raising their hand or unmuting, we will move on to the agenda. And the first thing we have is policies. I don't know, Mr. Parton, if you would like to say anything about, oh, and if I can just say, Mr. Mayor, at 7:38, Mr. Carr joined. Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Ellis Foster, on the on policy issues, we talked about everything in May. There are no changes since that time. These are just second readings of revised policies to update to reflect current law, and most of them are mandated. There were a couple in the report that you were already on the appropriate page with, so they did not need to be adopted. So unless there are any specific board member questions, there's really nothing else to discuss since May.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments midway in the board?
I do have one comment. Today we did receive a new Strauss SMA alert with about 10 mandated changes to policies. So we have to get that started probably before September.
Great, thank you. All right, so we will move on to curriculum professional development 1 through 12. This month's agenda is pretty packed because we have things for next year and over the summer, so a lot of stuff. Does anybody have any questions or comments on anything for 1 through 12? Nothing? Okay. Then we will move on, right? Yes.
I just want to let you know we will be adding a motion for Old Bridge Professional Learning Academy and for teachers that'll be creating workshops for our in-service in September and November.
Okay, thank you.
That it's not on here now. It will be on for next.
It'll be on for the 30th. All right, great. Thank you. Right, then the next right now is athletics, which we have nothing right now. I'm not sure if we expect anything else this month. If I can have a motion for finance 1 through 3.
Gunn will move finance items 1 through 3, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr.
Lent will
Dunn.
second.
And thank you, Ms. Lent. I would actually, as we get going, I would like to separate number 1 for voting and for discussion. And I'd just like Mr. Mara to turn it over to him to have a quick explanation.
Okay, so we'll vote on number 1 first, and then we'll vote on 2 and 3. So a few meetings ago, the board authorized the district to join a consortium of other school districts, including other school districts, to negotiate with transportation companies to reduce the amount that was due to them for services not provided from May 18th until the end of the year. And we were required to pay them for services not provided as per legislation that was passed during this 3-month period. So the 3 bus companies that are listed in item number 1, Helfrich and Sons, First Student, and School Days, have all signed an addendum to their existing contract, which they agree to receive 60% of what they would have received if they were doing transportation during that period. So we're still, the consortium that we belong to is still negotiating with other transportation companies. Since the production of this, the preparation of this agenda, there are 2 more bus companies that have approved a deal, a settlement for approximately 60%. They'll be on the agenda next week. So before, and they're included in the bill list, these 3 are included in the bill list in numbers 2 and 3. So that's why I wanted to vote on those, number 1 first, and then 2 and 3 second. So again, the governor and the law was passed that we were required to pay contractors, but prior to paying them, we needed to negotiate a settlement with them. The settlement that we've made in general is 60% of what they would have received during that period if they were actually providing bus transportation. So any questions?
Okay, then,
Okay,
okay, great. If there's no questions, can we have a vote on number 1?
Giordano,
Yeah.
Lent,
Yes.
Silikowski. Mr. Silikowski,
Yeah, let me unmute him.
Unmute.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski, did we get you yet? Okay, Ms. Ellis Foster,
Yes.
resolution 1 passes.
No, I'm good. Okay, yes.
Very good. Okay.
All right. Now we are on to items 2 and 3 of finance. Any questions, comments on that before we vote? No? Okay, if we can vote on finance 2 and 3, please, Mr. Mayor.
Giordano,
Yes.
Lent,
Yes.
Silikowski,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolutions 2 and 3 pass.
Thank you. Now, any questions or comments on items 4 through 26? Actually, I did have one. I don't know, Mr. said, if you can just share a little information on number 17 about the CARES Emergency Relief Grant and kind of what we're expecting from that or doing with some of that.
Sure. Through the CARES relief grant, districts were eligible to apply for funds to offset some of the impact of the COVID-19 outbreak. And those funds were limited to what you could apply for, mostly in the areas of disinfection, cleaning, or ways to enrich instruction with your students in a remote setting. So the majority of the funds that we received, and there's limited scope in which we can expend the money, will be used for enhancing our technology and increasing the number of HP streams we have available to the district, so that we can go to a true one-to-one model for every student would have access to their own device in the coming years. So that if we maintain or remain in this distance learning platform, or we return and we have to go back to it because of an outbreak again, we would not have to prepare our students to say, come back, get computers. They'd be bringing them home with them on a daily basis and have access to it on a regular basis.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on anything from 1 through 26? Okay. Then we have 2 items on non-certificated personnel office. Any questions, comments? Okay. The next non-certificated personnel operational, I'm going to assume where we don't have, where it's blank, it will be filled in for next week, or the 30th.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from anybody? Okay. We will go to non-certificated personnel other, 1 through 5. Any questions, comments? Okay. We'll move on to certificated personnel. If I can have a motion for 1 through 4.
Callie will move.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Can I have a second, please?
Lent will second.
Thank you, Ms. Lent.
Separating one for discussion.
Number 1, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I have to close the door. Okay, yeah, at the last agenda meeting, I was told that we didn't have the proper resources to do any, in other words, grant writing. All of a sudden, we came up with a person, or you're coming up with a person that's going to be a grant writer within the system. How is that going to work? Dr. Hoker, it's all yours. Because I was told we were going to outsource it to a professional grant writer.
If I can, I'll try to speak to it, Mr. Solikowski, if I may.
Go ahead.
So it will be a 2-prong approach to that position. So you have supervisor of technology, a position that we're down 2 people in the past 4 years. And that we used to have a manager of technology and a supervisor of director of technology. We haven't had those positions.
Which is Roseanne Moran. She's gone.
Right. And Mr. Hopman. So we're without those positions, and basically kind of piecemealing and doing the work through my office and the hard work of a lot of our other technology personnel.
So you're going to have less work then.
What's that?
You're going to have less work because you
Well,
were running technology for a while.
From your mouth to God's ears. Let's see what happens in the future with. So as we're relying on more technology and remote learning, especially even like myself, I'm trying to run the district and give out technology devices, people knocking on my back door and getting laptops and sometimes delivering them to people's homes. We have a need for that, and we're able to fund it through areas in which we'll not be providing additional manpower. So it is budget neutral in this area. And the person will also be the point person for any per diem outsourced grant writing we have. So that when you have an outsourced grant writing, they need a contact person to get data, to get information, to get the means of information to fill out the applications. This person will be that point person as well as being the technology supervisor.
I understand. The old grant writer, I believe she made, or whoever the person was, $500 a day, which comes out to about $100,000 for the year. Did she receive benefits?
Yes.
She did. Okay.
It
Did
was a
she
shared
receive
service
sick time?
agreement between the township and the Board of Education.
No, I understand that. It costs us 50,000 apiece, 50,000 apiece, plus half the benefits and half whatever she had in sick time and everything else. Am I right? So we're killing two birds with one stone over here.
We're
I'm going
trying.
to vote yes on this one.
Yeah, we're
And I'm going
trying.
to give you a break so you can work a little less, okay?
Thank you.
But I just wanted to clear up for the rest of the board members to understand what's going on.
Thank you for the
Thank you very
clarification.
much.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Nope. All right, so if, we already had a motion. So Mr. Mayor, if you can do the roll call for 1 through 4.
Ms.
Hello?
Ellis Foster, I have one more question. We have another motion on the agenda under certificated personnel that we do need to vote on. And I know this isn't the normal practice, so I'm requesting permission to be able to do it. I'm looking through the agenda to find the motion. Hold on one second.
Okay.
I can't read it. No, that didn't make it any better.
There are 50 items, so it might take a minute.
No, and I just had it and I moved it to look at the first motion. It is summer hours.
Number 15, Dr. Hooper.
Thank you very much, because I was way past that. So we need number 15, which is approval for summer hours. They're hours that will take place on the 22nd and 23rd of June, which is why we need approval at this meeting rather than waiting for the 30th for the hours that actually come in July and August.
Okay.
These hours are approved, are requested and approved every year. We're actually down one day this year, but it would be helpful if we could get this approved tonight.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, do we need a special motion to move this up, or we can just say administrative?
Well, I would direct that question to Mr. Barton.
Yeah, all
That's
you
what I
need,
meant.
because of the way that you're sunshined, you can, if Ms. Callie and Ms. Lent care to revise their motion and second to include 1, 2, 3, 4, and 15, you can just vote on them.
Okay.
Okay, I move on 1 through 4 and 15.
Me too.
All right, great, thank you.
Me too.
Any questions on 15? Nope. All right, so Mr. Mayor, motions 1 through 4 and 15, please.
Yes. DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Lent,
Yes.
Silikowski,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
So resolutions 1 through 4 and 15 pass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So any questions on 5 through 50?
I will provide you some information if you, if I can. Just an update, number 6, we did receive 2 additional resignations that will be added for June 30th. And number 8, we will have additional leaves and amendments to leaves that have been previously approved. And going all the way to number 37 and 38, a question was brought to my attention, so I just want to clarify these 2 motions. Give me a second to get there. Okay. Number 37 was approval for Dr. Ferry to take over the title grants in the absence of Ms. Calandria while she was on leave. The original motion was on in December, and the amount of the grant, the stipend for the grant was, the amount was incorrect. So we updated that to $10,000. However, it is prorated for what he receives and the amount he receives for that time period, which is January through June, is $4,583, not the $10,000. It's prorated amount for the time worked. The second motion is the approval, which comes out of next year's grant, the 2021 grant, for the time period July through August. And it's the same thing. The total amount of the stipend is $10,000, but he receives the prorated amount for $1,667. And the remaining motions, there are blanks in some areas for some of the salaries that will be determined and provided by June 30th.
Thank you.
Okay.
Does anybody have any other questions on anything through 5 to 50? No? Okay. We'll move on to non-certificated personnel transportation 1 through 5. Anyone have any questions? Comments? Nope. Okay. So now we will move on. I need a motion for supplies, equipment, and services 1 through 3. If I can have a motion, please.
DeCarlo will motion.
Dunn will second.
Okay, let me just get up. Mr. Mara?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss number 1 and number 2 briefly. But I just want to point out specifically to the public why, because I believe the board already knows this, why we're here doing an RFP for a new food service company. So back in July of last year, after the year was over, right after the school closed, Sodexo, who's been the vendor here for at least 15 to 20 years, advised us that they wanted to cancel the contract in July. And we were outraged that they came to us at such a late date, suggesting to cancel the contract. However, we convinced them to extend it because we're in the middle of a possible 5-year contracts with them, 1-year contracts. So we convinced them to stay for the 19-20 year, and we allowed them to make some modifications to the operation of what they're doing, with the hope that we would continue with them for another 2 or 3 years. In December, they advised us that whatever modifications that they made to the operation was still not financially feasible, and we were required. And they gave us a letter in January advising us to that they were they were terminating the contract. So it was at their direction that this contract has been terminated. It wasn't at our direction. So it required us to do a request for proposal under competitive contracting for food services beginning on July 1st of 2020. And we received, and you can see what we received, the proposals in number 1. We received 4 proposals, one from Aramark, Chartwells, Whitson's, and Sodexo. Sodexo's proposal was to propose a program that would lose almost $200,000. And none of us could understand why they would submit a proposal like this, because by state mandate, the program has to break even. So they made a proposal that would require the district to pay them out of the general fund $200,000 a year, which as far as I understand, it's not allowed. So Sodexo made a decision to move on from the district, and it wasn't something, and it was in the middle of a period where we had at least 2 or 3 more years to move forward with them. Now, to move on to item number 2, as a result of the competitive contracting process, a committee was set up, which consisted of myself, Dr. Holker, Ms. Lowry, and Dr. Sasso. and we evaluated all the proposals. And on the basis of the proposals, the written proposals and interviews with the various, we selected 2 companies to be the finalists, Aramark and Chartwells, on the basis of their proposal. We interviewed their management team and their proposed manager, our on-site manager, and it was the unanimous recommendation of the committee to recommend to the board that we move to Aramark as the new vendor for food service. Now, when you look at number 1 and you see that Aramark's guarantee is $41,000 and Chartwell's is $85,000, you probably would ask me, the next question is, well, why would you pick Aramark as opposed to Chartwell's? When we viewed Chartwell's proposal, Chartwell's projected revenue was almost $200,000 higher than what Sodexo's revenue was for this year. So I reached out to some other companies some other districts that were dealing with Chartwell's, and especially in the world that we're living in, where enrollment is declining, we felt that if with a projected increase of revenue of $200,000, decreasing enrollment, that if we selected Chartwell's just on the basis of the $85,000 guarantee, we most probably would be back here next year going out for another food service contract next year, because there's no way that they would be able to manage that $85,000. The Aramark proposal was very consistent with what Sodexo was doing. The revenue was slightly higher, but they had reduced costs on the management side. So that's why the recommendation of the committee was to move forward with Aramark.
Mr. Mara,
Yeah.
excuse me, isn't higher revenue a good thing? That's money coming in, right?
They're projecting higher revenue with declining enrollment. They're projecting that they don't know if we're going to have higher revenue. They're just for the sake of, we felt that just as a result of their proposal, that they were proposing that there would be $200,000 of additional revenue, and our actual revenue over the last 3 or 4 years, because of the decline in enrollment, has been declining.
I got it. I understand.
So if you want to get into if you want to get in, you project this high revenue, and then next year they come back to us and say, hey, instead of 3.2 million, we did 2.9 million. I can't afford this guarantee. I'm canceling the contract.
I got you.
Now, what happened with Sodexo here is last year they guaranteed us $100,000 profit. We actually made $225,000. And I think that, look, again, I can't speak for why they're doing what they did to terminate the contract, but it was a very profitable year for us this year. But I think these contracts are long-term, it could be a minimum of 1 year, but in most cases they go to full 5 years. We want to get on board with a vendor that can afford to do this properly for 5 years, and Aramark has a good reputation.
Thank you.
So with that, I just wanted to, now as far as a couple other points I just wanted to mention. So in terms of the RFP, the request for proposal that we did for the food service, we used in the proposal all of the staff, we included all of the staff members and their salaries that they were making, so that we would expect that the employees, well, first, before I even say that, all of the employees that work for Sodexo will be offered a position with Aramark. However, they still will have to go through the Aramark hiring process. They'll have to go through their screening. They'll have to be drug tested. They have to go through the criminal background check. That's standard operating procedure where whenever you change vendors. It was the same thing with the custodial firm when we made those changes before. So, but it's as per the RFP, all of the employees in Sodexo, they will be offered the opportunity to move to Aramark for the same salary, and that process, it's my understanding, is they've already been reaching out to people in anticipation of Sodexo losing the contract, because they were aware of all the proposals. So I think I covered all the points, Ms. Ellis Forster. If anybody has any questions, please ask them now.
Yeah, the other thing, Mr. Mara, I believe also part of the agreement is that we have the expectation that anyone that's hired continues to stay with the district will be at the same pay rate. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, yes.
Just to make sure.
The
All
only
of
thing
the
I did
members-
want to,
all-
I did
all
want
of
to
the-
add,
So all of the members of the Sodexo team, they're all members of the union. It's a union shop. They will still be part of the same union. Aramark will have to make a new agreement with the union, but the expectation is that that's standard operating procedure.
the only thing I wanted to add is that, with the exception of the on-site manager, Michelle Feliciano, I spoke to her today, and she's not my employee, so I know I can speak to this publicly. She had a non-compete clause and will not be able to be retained by Aramark to continue to work with us. And I know I speak for the board and many people here in Old Bridge to say it's a tremendous loss. She has gone above and beyond with us, and anything that we've needed, she's been very collaborative with. So whatever institution or company gets her, they'll be very fortunate. And if they need to speak to me, I will always speak highly of her. And we're going to miss her. I wish her the best.
Can I just add something to that as the chair of food service? Kelly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Michelle, just to reiterate what Dave said, I've chaired food service committee for many years now, and it's been my honor and my pleasure to work with Michelle. She's always goes above and beyond, and she will sorely be missed. That's it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any questions? Because we also do have on with us is our representative, the representative who helped us with the RFP. I don't know if Joe or Bill, if there's anything that you wanted to add.
No, I think I covered all the points.
Okay. So any questions on that or number 3 on the section? No? All right, well, we had a motion.
Yeah, we already had the motions.
Did we have the motion? Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, then, Mr. Mayor, if we can have a roll call on 1 through 3, please.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Lent,
Yes.
Silikowski,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes,
Resolutions 1, 2, and 3 pass.
thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to add, and Ms. Foster, that item 3 is a required enhancement of security as required by legislative update and Alyssa's law. Districts are required to put certain mechanics in place that enhance security. I don't want to go into detail what they are because then everybody else knows what we've put in place. But this will definitely enhance our ability to report incidents in school and notify other people of concerns within the school. So this is required and money well spent.
Well, and just to add what Mr. Cittadino said, again, we don't really talk about what we're doing with security, but this is 100% grant funded. So it's not being funded by the general fund.
Okay, great, thank you. So any questions on the remaining items 1 through 12? Okay, then we shall move on to transportation, 1 through 6, which is kind of all blank right now.
Yeah, we just left them as placeholders, subject to any changes in the world within the next 10 days.
And who knows what that can be? It could be anything. Okay, anybody have any questions? Nope. On to miscellaneous 1 through 8.
Just to bring it to your attention, number 2, Joanne had told her the special meeting is incorrect, the attendance list. I was there and I think the 2 Jills weren't.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, no, they weren't. Sorry about that. I didn't catch that. Okay, thank you. And I just want to mention, and I don't know if somebody else wants to add a little bit more. I think it's an exciting thing. It's not going to be for this year. It's going to be for the school year 21, 22. It seems far away, but a partnership with Rutgers School of Health and Professions is going to offer a health science career at the high school. I think is a fabulous opportunity for our kids. So I know we're next week or the 30th approve the agreement, and just because to put in such a curriculum will take the year, but I think it's a great enhancement, an opportunity for our students. Okay. Anybody else? Anything? All right. And following last item is going to be board secretary and board business. And any questions on that?
Well, I'd just like to point out that in the wisdom of the governor and the DCA, Department of Community Affairs, they increased the bid threshold from 40,000 to 44,000. Makes my life a little easier. So this is good news for the district.
Anything we can do to make it easy for you, Mr. Mayor. We shall support. All right, now we are on again to hearing of residents on any school district item. And anybody wants to raise their hand? Okay. Mr. O'Neill, you should be able to speak right now. Start with you.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. There are just a few things that I wanted to see if I could get clarified. One is something I think I ask every year. Number 15 under finance on page 15 of the draft agenda. Can you clarify that that is procedural and doesn't signify any actual further funding reductions or cuts?
What page is it on?
Tim, Mr. O'Neill, you're speaking of the Title I grants and so forth?
Yes.
Yeah, that's just procedural. Every year we do that because we're not aware of the grant amount at this time, so we can't offer them employment. It has nothing to do to the reduction of workforce or they speak to the quality of the employee. Just when we get we can't legally hire people until we know what the grant amount is. And once we receive that, then we'll put them back on for the agenda portion.
Yep, and I'll make you say it again next year too.
Thank you. I'm going to write it down so I can think about it.
The other item is should also be simple, I think. The fall sports actually will begin in early August if they begin on schedule. Of course, we don't know if that's going to happen or not. So the board had rescinded hiring most of the fall coaches last month, I believe. Do you have a plan in place to handle the situation if those sports are permitted to begin on schedule?
If we have the ability to do so, I have the authority as a superintendent outside of a board meeting to reinstate and hire employees as needed to keep the operation of the district going. So I would be able to do that, and then we would officially do it again at the August board meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. If anybody else, if you just raise your hand, I can see it pop up and I can unmute you if there's any comments you have. And if anybody, well, I don't see anybody on the phone, but if anybody's on the phone, if you do *9, I don't see anybody on the phone. So I'll just wait a second. If anybody has any other comments, I'll just give one more second. There's nothing in chat. Nope. All right, well, seeing no other hands at this point, I will close the hearing of residents and we will move on. Is there any old business? Any new business?
I have new business if it comes to me.
Please, Mr. Cedina.
Well, first, I just want to congratulate all of our students who are transitioning different grade levels this year. And at the end of the school year tomorrow, I have a video set to go out. I've had to redo it a few times as new information comes in. But again, I just want to congratulate all of our students and families that have worked hard through this very different and at times difficult school year. Your strength and perseverance really was demonstrated. As far as our parents, thank you very much for supporting us during this difficult time. And our staff, the best team in the world. I go to battle with this team anytime. They really stepped up and showed their innovation and ingenuity in making sure the students received what they needed through these difficult times. Tomorrow, the last day of school, I want to thank John Cracky from Friendly's. He has invited all the students from the district to come by from 12 to 6 for free ice cream. And he'll have several areas arranged so we can keep lines to a minimum. Just ask everyone to maintain social distancing, wear a mask until you have your ice cream, of course. And we also have a special event for Saturday. You know, we've always had, past few weeks, we've had senior Saturdays throughout the district with different restaurants representing us. This Saturday will be different. It will be a Old Bridge School Student Saturday, and it'll congratulate all of the students and celebrate all the students who have worked so hard and their families through this. And we're gonna have 10 restaurants from Old Bridge that always continue to give back and give more, who are participating in 10% off any to-go items, must be takeout only. And those include Saturday Bagel Boys, Friendly's, Giuseppe's, Crispy's, TGI Fridays, Bubba's 33, the General Saloon, Grillstone, Nicolo's, and Via Sposito. So information will go being out about that. I want to thank Ms. Castaigne for putting that together on short notice. Sometimes these ideas come to me in the middle of the night and I jot them down in the morning and text her to get it done. That was pretty short notice. So thank you very much for all of our community sponsors who always look out for the district and our students, and hope to see everyone at one of those restaurants on Saturday and definitely at Friendly's tomorrow. And again, another message will come out to me tomorrow, but most importantly, be safe. We will miss you, and be healthy, and we'll see you in September. Fingers crossed.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sedino. Anyone else?
Yes.
Mr.
Mr. Citadino, has any arrangements been made for the kids in the art classes and all these other programs like wood shops to pick up their projects, whatever they left behind? I don't know.
We had every school arranged dates in which their students could pick up their materials or anything they left behind. I don't know if they specifically asked for any projects they were working on, but I know the teachers had the ability to go into their classrooms and remove materials and put them out for students to get picked up. So I would hope and imagine that took place during that time. But if any parent has a specific need that they weren't able to get, or a student a project they really need, just reach out to me and I'll arrange for it.
I'll reach out to you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Oh, yes.
Okay, let's go.
All right, I'll go first if that's okay.
Yes.
So I just wanted to wish all the dads out there a happy Father's Day for Sunday. And a quick question for Mr. Citadino. Is there anything about ESY? Any information about that?
You know, we are still working and looking at any possibilities, and even everything from some alternative plans that we originally had that would include some opportunities for some in-person work. But at this point, I can't change anything that we already have in place. There's not any new information. I'm thinking early next week, a definitive answer will go out as to the scope of ESY for next year, for this summer.
Okay. Who else? I heard a couple of voices.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Mr. Kelly? Oh, I'm gonna go Mr. Caro and then Mr. Giordano.
Okay, no, I just wanted to just mention Michelle Feliciano. Again, I know Mr. DePrima, Mr. Citadino mentioned her, but I just wanted to thank her for all she's done. I've been also on the food service with with Sal, the food service committee, for the past few years, working with her. She's just wonderful. But even before I was even on the board, you know, as most of you know, I've always been I've always been on the food lunch bandwagon to always try to, you know, see how to make things better. Not that they're not good, but so I've been working with Michelle for many years, and so I will definitely miss her on a personal level, because she's always so wonderful, always responds, and she really has, as Mr. Cittadino has said, she's done so much for this district. So I did want to just give a shout out to her, and we will truly miss her. Also, just that's it. Keep on trucking, everybody.
All right, thanks, Joe. Mr. Giordano.
Yes, I would also like to congratulate the class of 2020 being able to graduate and complete school and showing their perseverance and activism within the last few months. And for those students that are attending college in the fall, I would like to offer advice and any other strategies that these students want to hear if they send an email out to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Miss Callie.
I just want to say thank you to Michelle, and you will definitely be missed. You know, going last, don't want to reiterate what everybody said, but you know, she did a phenomenal job and she will be missed. And I know this isn't our last meeting of the year, but school's over tomorrow. So I wanted to thank the staff and our administration for the phenomenal job that they have done with this, you know, remote learning. And, you know, kind of, we all know we had to turn on a dime in March, and it wasn't easy. And I think our staff and our leaders, Dr. Hoker and Mr. Cittadino, you've done a phenomenal job. And I went back to work on Monday, and today I was listening to an attorney complain for about 20 minutes about how his district isn't doing this and isn't doing that, and it's not working. And I just, you know, he wasn't talking to me, but I was sitting there in my cubicle under my breath saying, you're in the wrong district. You're in the wrong district. So again, I just wanted to thank you guys. That's it. Oh, and happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Last call? Okay, so I will then wrap it up for now. We will be back on the 30th though for our final meeting before the summer. We get a small summer break, but again, thank you everyone. Thank you, Michelle. We will miss you. Thank you to everybody. You know, I mean, the students graduating, congratulations, and those moving up. But I think a huge achievement to everyone getting to the end of this year. It certainly is one that's no one will ever forget. You know, people now, they think back and they go, oh, you know, the flu of 1918. So everybody now can say we remember 2020. So thank you for everyone for that. And thank you to our community partners helping all of our students celebrate. Thank you to that. I'm trying to think of who else. There's just too many to thank. But we'll be back on the 30th for one more meeting. We will continue to be on Zoom, at least based on what the mandates are now. Hopefully when we come back in August, there'll be something new and we can try to get back face to face, but as one day at a time with this pandemic. So that will end our regular meeting, and we're going into executive session. Mr. Parton?
Yes, you're going into executive session for negotiations, personnel, and property issues, and you will only be back to adjourn the meeting. You need a motion.
Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Burns will motion to go into executive session.
Burns, a second, please.
Lentil second.
Thanks, Mrs. Spence. A roll call, please, Mr. Merrill.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We're going into executive session at 8:29.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the weekend, even though it might be raining.
Good night.